Joining me now is Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Jack Dale. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you.
We have a lot going on in Fairfax County. We had
Always.
Ms. Obama here last week at Annandale High School talking about students and actually the success of that school. We had an education summit, and you were talking about Education 2.0. Let's listen to Ms. Obama and see what she had to say.
Yeah, cool.
You're given so many incredible opportunities here at this school. There's so much diversity here, such breadth of experience in your student body. So this is the perfect place for you to find out who you are and what you want to become. And that's really what education is all about. My greatest wish for each of you is to take your education seriously and challenge yourselves, explore new classes, audition for the school play, write for the school paper, take some risks, try something new. And when you find something you like, then invest in it. Push yourself and commit to your own success.
So she talked about passion, and we talked about passion at the Education Summit and finding your finding the place where you belong. How do you...
It's really great that Michelle, first of all, Obama, that when she visited us, and the President's been here before as well, so it's really cool. And her message is, boy, it's just really spot on to our Education 2.0 Summit, is we're looking at really two things in education, and she hit on one is like helping kids find their passion. So it's not just in the, if you will, the core content, reading, writing, arithmetic. It's finding how to apply those things in sciences and technology and the arts. And so that's a little bit what she was saying is, find your passion at these intersection points or other places you want to explore. And how can we as an educational institution make sure that we are delivering what we would call these kind of higher order skills and application of those skills and intriguingness, if you will, to kids, and not just the reading, writing, and math, but that next level.
Because they can learn that if their passion is put in play, they can find them through those other...
Yeah. In fact, as you're pointing out, they can learn those things other ways, which is the other half of Education 2.0 is not only elevating what it is we're teaching, but using technology, I think at least, how we can use technology on really some of the basic skills. There's what's called a Khan Academy that people have looked at a lot on the web, which is a free site for math tutoring, basically. But this gentleman can teach everything from basic arithmetic skills up through calculus in these very, very insightful, very fun, very engaging methods, but they're just computer tapes. And so you can just listen to them over and over as necessary to learn the material.
We talked to Peter Noonan about online textbooks.
Oh, yeah.
All these resources change the way that kids can learn. And I think that's part of that conversation you're having. How can we look to the future?
Well, we actually, I think, need to take a good solid year to think about this, because I think that when we look at education, we tend to think of how we've experienced it ourselves when we were in school, and even the current parents, young parents, will think about it as they were currently in school. Even our kids will think about how they were currently in school. So I think we need to think it through very differently. I quite frankly don't know what it'll look like, and I don't think many people, if anybody, does. But if I look at the quality of people in Fairfax County, both our parents and our own staff, and I think if we noodle this, if you will, and think about it and brainstorm and create some ideas and experiments, I think we'll begin to look at how we can deliver education in a very different manner and also deliver the kind of education that, like Michelle Obama is doing, to really get at kids' passions.
You were with me at Lee Center, and we were at the Innovation Institute.
Yes.
And that's another example of teacher teams coming together to say, how can technology change the learning? Not technology for technology's sake, but where does teacher leadership fit in 2.0?
I was going to flip that around and ask you, since you were one of our great leaders in teacher leadership and demonstrated that at your school. But the whole notion with teacher leadership is really giving teachers the time to think creatively and how things that we put before them can be potentially used for their kids, like you were doing with these recording pens, to lack of a better word, but records sound, records words, records all sorts, it translates, it does all sorts of things just all in the little body of a pen. And how can teachers use that more creatively to help kids deeply learn the material, but also then learn how to apply that in areas that we might not have thought about. But ultimately, as they get into high school and beyond, it's exploring their passion. And as I said in one of our Education 2.0 things, it's maybe education is less around us trying to make sure kids learn all these facts and figures, if you will, but maybe our job is to really teach kids how to create knowledge. And that's really where you get on that cutting edge, and I think you get into people's passion that way.
So moving on, thinking about the summit, you're listening to the community as well as our students. The Student Advisory Council made some recommendations last spring. What were some of the ideas that we followed through on?
Well, yes, I was going to say we followed through on some. One immediate one was they said, let us bring our own devices. So it's a BYOD device 24/7. Now, we've always kind of allowed that, but also kind of limited that. And now we're trying to be more encouraging of that. So because kids have, whether it be a mobile device or a phone device, they can access the internet through our system because we have enough bandwidth on our internet system so that they can access. We can have the filters on so that parents don't have to be worried about going the wrong places, although that'll change over time in terms of us teaching kids to be their own self-monitors. But anyway, so that's one thing that the kids recommend that we do. Another one, which I think is going to take us a little more time, is we have tons of smart boards in the elementary level. PTAs tend to be more generous at that level because they're more engaged, and it's also a smaller environment as opposed to a high school. There's just like hundreds of teachers. But they said, transfer the whiteboards from the elementary, or I say transfer, focus on using those whiteboards at the high school level, particularly in upper level math and science classes, because you can do this multi-dimensional modeling and visually rotate molecules or different spaces, if you will, if you're studying mathematics and physics. Visually, and you can understand those more easily if you had a visual model. So they said, train your science and math teachers to use those. That was one of the things which I think we'll take to heart and see what we can do to help our math and science teachers in that area. But bring your own device. Don't put wireless on buses. We need a little downtime, which I thought was interesting. They said, be careful on online learning. We shouldn't be invading, we school systems should not be invading their personal space at home. That's not to say we wouldn't use online environments in groups of kids maybe in our schools and let them in teams work online together on solving some complex problems. So we're exploring lots of things. As usual, kids are great.
And it
great
sounds
insight.
like we've got the community, we've got teachers, and we've got students all thinking about what should our education be.
And people can still contribute to this by going on our website, and we have this log or blog, if you will, where people can continually add new ideas that we should be considering. That's why I said it's going to be a year, I think, of thinking.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.